Today, Lois has the Drash for us. Thank you very much.
Shabbat Shalom. In this Torah portion, Moses has reached the end of a long journey. They are finally going to be entering the Promised Land after wandering 40 years, and gotten all done through the plagues and all the things that went on in the wilderness. And he tells the people, after you cross over the Jordan, construct a pillar of remembrance on Mount Ebal. If you remember, there's Mount Ebal and Mount Gerizim. Mount Ebal is one of the two mountains in the central Israel, located near the ancient city of Shechem. Today, if you hear Nablus in the news, that's same town, and it forms a valley of Shechem. It holds a significant Mount Gerizim holds a significant biblical importance in the designation site for the pronouncements of curses on Mount Ebal and blessings on Mount Gerizim. If they disobeyed God's law, they would be on Mount Ebal, blessings on Gerizim. The mountains, Mount Ebal is barren, rocky, and a rugged surface, composed mainly of limestone, and it contrasts sharply with Mount Gerizim, which is a fertile and lush landscape. That's symbolizing the consequences of disobedience versus obedience to God's commands. The altar that they were to construct was to be built of uncut field stones, not with cut stones. They were to offer a burnt offering, meaning the whole offering was consumed. They didn't eat any of it. The only thing the priest got out of it was the hide. And I'm wondering if maybe they made the Torah used the hide for the Torah. None of it was to be eaten. The peace offering was a voluntary sacrifice offered to God in 3 specific instances: a free will offering to express thanksgiving for God's unsought generosity alongside the fulfillment of a vow, or as a voluntary expression of goodwill. The peace offering was not meant to appease God, but to celebrate and affirm a state of peace and fellowship already established through His grace. It symbolized reconciliation, a communion between God and the offerer, emphasizing the restoration of harmony and the shared joy of covenant relationship. The remainder of the animal was then to be shared in a festival meal, and the sons and the priests, the sons, and the community would partake in this meal. The shared meal represented a tangible expression of fellowship where all parties, God, the priests, and man, were satisfied and in peaceful communion. It foreshadowed the ultimate fulfillment of peace in Messiah, Yeshua, described in Isaiah as the Sar Shalom, the Prince of Peace. They were to rejoice before God and to write the law plainly on the stones that they erected as a reminder of that day. Isaiah in the Haftorah portion points to a future time when Israel will see the glory of the Lord revealed. And God tells His people to respond to it. Darkness will disappear, the Lord will arise, and His glory will be seen in you. Work can't be done in darkness. Only in light can you find your way. rise up and go your way. We receive God's light in our. We first receive God's light, and then we have a service to perform. You can't shine until your light has come. Ever try to do things in the dark? I have, but it just doesn't work. This is no earthly light. This is a light that emanates from the glory of the Lord. This is the light of Yeshua. This is like the light of Yeshua in the Transfiguration, when his face shone like the sun, and his clothes became white as light. When the Lord lifts up his glorious light over Israel, the Gentile nations will see it and be attracted to it. Even kings will be attracted to the brightness of Israel's rising. This will ultimately be fulfilled in the millennial kingdom, when Israel is lifted up among the nations. The New Covenant reading gives the account of Yeshua, the young itinerant rabbi, at the beginning of his ministry. He came and dwelt in Capernaum, which is by the sea, in the region of Zebulun and Naphtali, and that it might be fulfilled what was spoken of by Isaiah, the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali, on the way of the sea beyond the Jordan, Galilee of the Gentiles, the people who sat in darkness will see a great light. And upon those who sat in the region of the shadow of death, light has dawned. As we learned the other week, Zebulun and Naphtali were the tribes associated with the Samaritans. So he's starting where the problem was. Not going from the easy to the hard. He's went right to the heart of the matter. In the area this area is about 30 by 60 miles, and Josephus says that there were some 240 villages, with each having no less than 1,500 people. So the total population, here's some numbers for you, gives a population of about 3 million for that region. Galilee was predominantly Gentile and with its population, but with a large amount of Jewish cities and citizens. Leaving Nazareth, he came and dwelt in Capernaum. This was because the people rejected Yeshua in his own hometown. It was significant that he made this his home in Capernaum and not in Nazareth. Both Matthew and Peter lived in Capernaum. The gospel Yeshua preached was the same as what John began with. So he picked up where John left off, with their call to repentance. In fact, since Yeshua waited until John had been put in prison, he picked up where he left off and went a step farther. John announced the coming of Messiah. Yeshua said, "I am the Messiah." He started by calling his first disciples, asking them to leave their livelihood and come follow him, saying he'd make them fishers of men. They probably thought, what is this guy talking about? That must have intrigued them, and because they left their nets and they followed him. In future days, they would see Yeshua's teaching and witness many miracles at his hand. All three scriptures deal with changes in relationship to God. The transition from wandering in the wilderness to the promised land, a transition of Israel when the glory of the Lord comes in the last days, and the beginning of Yeshua's ministry, calling his first disciples and bringing light to the inhabitants of Galilee and beyond. Let's be tuned in when God speaks into our lives and be prepared to act. Shabbat Shalom.